What's up, everybody? Rob Gill, Epic. We're in the Profit Center here, and today's title is How to Get a Yes in Sales. So today is an awesome day for me because, once again, this is Rob Gill, and I'm so excited to have not only the film crew here and the production. These women are beautiful souls, and what they're doing for us at Epic is incredible. But this journey for me specifically started with my partner, Sean Callagy. What's up, brother? Sean is my mentor, my coach, my trainer, and one of my very best friends. So I am really excited about what we're going to talk about, and that's how, through Sean's integrity-based human influence model that I learned, the Callagy results formula, whose language is now seen through Unblinded. That formula took Epic from 8 to 150 new sales meetings a month. And Sean, I think that there's no one that could explain the formula better than you.
Yep.
And I would love for you to break down to these good folks the integrity-based human influence model and what you've been able to do with it and where you're at right now.
Yeah, no, appreciate it, brother. So first of all, I couldn't be more grateful to Rob. Our friendship is paramount for me. We laugh endlessly. We have an incredible time. We call Rob Gill the mayor of money, the ambassador of results, and he was formerly known as Big Sugar, right?
100%.
Like that's present.
Yes.
So for you out there, the greatest challenge in everything I'm about to share is that it sounds like something you've heard before. So when I create a disruption, a lightning bolt, Unblinded symbol is a lightning bolt for a reason. A lightning bolt equals disruption. A lightning bolt equals illumination, loss of ignorance. That's a lot to say. It's a lot to say. And I'm going to give two quick social proof points to say this. Rob 19x'd his sales meetings, and we're sitting here. Those are real numbers, not just by learning how to communicate with integrity at an accelerated level, which, by the way, he was a master in already and successful when I met him, but also knowing what to do with it. Fair statement?
Yes.
Okay. So the other piece is that this works at everything you do. Leadership, training, coaching, kids sports teams to coaching people in business, sales, marketing, relationships amongst people. When the absence of integrity-based human influence arises, problems begin.
Absolutely.
Right? So this is powerful to exponentially shift your money, your time leverage, like scaling your business, your sales, and the magic you're feeling. Have all three of those things happen for you.
I told you guys that you're going to be in for a special treat right now.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep. So here's the story. 23 years ago, I encountered this issue. And the issue was that sales mattered. I thought nothing could be more disgusting and horrible than selling. And I didn't want to do it. I was ready to leave the law. I happened to be an attorney, but I was the person desiring to accelerate and make money like people in other areas, to eventually have time freedom. I didn't have kids yet, so I could attend my kids' events and different things, and the ability to enjoy my life. So I synthesized incredible amounts of people's material, and I quit my job in a major law firm, $100,000 in personal debt, started my own firm on my credit card as a literally true story. Because people make up things in hindsight what happened. I told people, I wrote to people, my friends, my family, others who could verify that I was going to create my own law firm as an experiment, and if this worked. And it did.
So wait, can I freeze for a second?
Please.
Because I've heard that. When you say you wrote to everyone, that's a big, and I've heard that before, but once again, it just landed. Eddie was just making fun of me where on March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, everything landed after I knew you for a year.
Yeah.
Right? I'm a slow learner. Why did you write to everybody? At that age, what was that all about? To me, because that sets an intention. Yeah. Right? It wasn't even a goal. It was you were declaring something.
On the same weekend, I finished reading Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins and Jerry Spence's How to Argue and Win Every Time. Right? Same weekend. And I saw Jerry Spence speak in San Diego, California. On the way back in the airplane, I wrote to my 4 best friends from high school. I was one of the 5. I wrote to my mother and I wrote to my father. And I explained to them that my life had changed. I believe I saw things differently. And this was it. I was committed. It was people joke about a Jerry Maguire moment. It's a lot of fun humor. It was that and more. It was literally, I felt like I was writing a declaration of independence for my life. And not for what I could get from people, but that I had a clear path and vision. I was scared, let's be clear, right? I was about to quit my job, do all kinds of crazy things, but I was clear that there was a path and I had to find out if it was real or not. So that's the setup. In 2 years, I had 40 people working for my law firm. I had bought a beach house. I had no money. Like, I couldn't believe it. I didn't buy. You've been in my beach house, right? Like, that's not just like a shack on, it's in the beach,
It's
right?
right on the ocean.
So, and that was for me like life changing. That was my dream. I had hoped to get there by the time I was like 50, 55.
So what you're sharing with these good folks is they have the ability to accelerate the way we did here at Epic by going from 8 to 150, really understanding not only the importance of working in the business, but it sounds like to me, working on the business, and as you coach me all the time, how to replace myself and how to leverage myself.
And I did this in my 20s. So I did it in 2 years, selling something, because you're like, oh, you're an attorney. Dude, attorney, like, Google it. Look at the median, like what most attorneys make. It's not a lot of money. Police officers in many areas make more money in the median, like what the largest grouping makes, than attorneys similarly situated. So, and I'm not like comparing and saying that's bad or good, but it's just a misperception that people have that attorneys just make a lot of money. Yes, a fractional percentile of attorneys, less than 1%, make a tremendous amount of money, but it's an incredibly small percentage. And I was in my 20s, like with no roadmap to do this. So in no time flat, I have 40 people working for me, something that I have never heard before or since, and exited and sold that law firm.
And that was like 3 or 4 years? How quick was that time frame?
That was in 4 years.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yep. So now that's the story, credibility, right? You said now, like, we want to give you content. That's like why you should listen. And by the way, I've spoken on Tony Robbins' stage 5 times now. I've built Chris Crohn's stage. Oh, I love you, Chris. My own stage. We put more than 1,000 people into a room with my incredible and amazing, teammates, co-founders, Fernando Valencia, Adam Gugino, and you, brother, and all your amazing support. Like, truly incredible, and so many other fine folks at Callagy Law. All of us coming together to make magic happen.
Absolutely.
Right? I built multiple successful companies. I built the fastest growing training and coaching company out of my coaching school back in the early 2000s. This company right now, we're, rocketing forward with what's happening right now.
There's things at Unblinded that are happening at light speed right now, right? In ways that every 30 days there's going to be a new base camp that's like way higher up on the mountain.
Absolutely. Yep. So all that said, to like not out of any ego, because ultimately this happened because I had mentors long before Tony Robbins, my high school coaches, my grandparents, my parents, my aunts, my uncles. This is just like, it's not like, oh, look at me, I'm a magician. It's that I was taught the advanced science of how to create rapid acceleration, which, by the way, when I don't do it, I'm not in the formula, I get pain.
Yes.
I make mistakes. I don't have the outcomes I want. Like, I'm not the smartest person. I'm not the most likable person. I'm not the most athletic person. I happen to be pretty decently high in those categories. I'm not the best person at being in a relationship. I was divorced twice. There was dynamics that weren't in the formula for both sides of us, right? So I don't sit here and claim perfection in my life. I claim that I know why when I had pain that I had pain. I know why.
Radical honesty.
Right? And I know why when I create massive acceleration. So it's a formula. And the formula is the formula for producing any results you want, but we're applying it for you today in how to create sales acceleration.
From how to go from hello to yes.
Hello to yes to people, right? So there's 3 parts of the formula. 2 we're not going to address. 1's relevant. And so process mastery is what you do with your superpower of influence. Keep that over here. Influence mastery is how you go from hello to yes, which we're going to talk about today. Self-mastery is how you get yourself to follow that formula when you get scared. We're not going to talk about that either. But both of those bookends are incredibly important as well. Agreed?
Agree.
Okay. The hello to yes part, though, if you don't have that, brother, you're going nowhere, right? So you got to get yourself to use it, and you got to get yourself to have your process mastery. But here's how you go from hello to yes. There's 4 steps. There's 10 indispensable elements, and there's 4 energies. Oh, that's about like 50 hours of content. We're going to compress that into 5 minutes that you have meaningful, powerful takeaway content, okay? So the 4 steps. Every conversation you should have must be linear. Every conversation you should be able to know where you are. 4 steps. If you don't have these 4 steps and components, your communication level is wildly suboptimal. And remember, what's at stake is not the yes that I might get with Rob or not. It's the compounding of where we put the yeses, which is the ecosystems we're merging with and the sales meetings we're creating. When you do the math compounding those 2 things, the difference between being a 9 in influence and a 9.9 is the difference of more than $1 million per year in your personal income. You heard one of our dear friends and partners, Eddie Gardner, He's at a 7 and doubled his income, right?
Yep.
If he gets to a 9, he quadruples his income.
He'll buy 2 houses.
Right? Exactly. So 4 steps, know where you are at all times. First step is the building of emotional rapport, how you connect with somebody and open their listening, but not just connecting at a heart-to-heart level.
Yes, stress that. Let's
Heart-to-heart level.
Yeah.
And I do something called the Real Raw now,
Yep.
and we have incredible people come on every day, and they are disrupted continuously. And many brought to like tears because they're blown away by heart-to-heart connection.
And we're on step 1, but you keep talking about disruption. Explain just 30 seconds, a quick point on why they should understand the importance of disruption, where it's in a congruent manner, not like we're blowing somebody's world up per se, but we're disrupting
Sometimes
their status quo. Yeah, but we're disrupting their status quo thinking. The default no.
So right now, if you're watching this, what I'm trying to do is disrupt you in thinking, yeah, I know this.
Yeah.
And so whatever you're going to communicate about going from hello to yes, emotional rapport building is about creating a scotoma, a disruption at the outset, so people's listening opens. Because if you don't do that, then it's like you're Charlie Brown's teacher going wah 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 wah. Like, and it's not a joke. That's literally a caricaturization by Charles Schulz of the fact that teachers don't have emotional rapport with their students.
And we talked about this yesterday on one of our videos.
Amazing. And that's what's happening. So the building of emotional rapport, the scotoma, that's created through a sequencing of questions that you're going to ask people. And I'm going to give it to you fast, right? Because we're here for a very limited amount of time in this video. There's immense micro distinctions, but this is what it is. And the challenge for you is going to be accepting it or not. Because Rob, I'm not joking, it took a long time. It took like a year.
It took me 300 times to get a meeting with Sean.
Yeah. 5 steps. Where have you been? Where are you? Where are you going? What's working? What are the challenges? That's the sequencing of integrity at step 1. None of that matters though that's step 1, unless you have indispensable element 1, loving everyone unconditionally with boundaries. Because if you don't love everybody, then you don't do what Oprah said, which is the result of emotional rapport building is the opening of people's listening through your listening, which is telling them, I see you, I hear you, and what you say matters to me, which is why Oprah in her final video, her final show, said that's why she held the microphone for 30,000 people. The issue is, how do you get there?
Can I share one access on that? Yeah. So if you're in a meeting with somebody, don't look down at your phone while you're listening.
Yeah.
Put everything to the side and pay full attention. And when you ask a question, let them talk more than you are. Yeah.
And not because you're executing a strategy, because you love them and want them to feel heard. Like truly. Like how do I do that? That's a separate video.
Yeah.
But loving all people unconditionally with boundaries, that's step 1. Second step is something has to be at stake. So let's say Rob and I are loving people unconditionally with boundaries. The question is so Rob, hey, you explained to me that your why is your family, your children, your acceleration, all of these things. This is why you're building Epic. You and Eddie are doing all these incredible things together, and the entire Epic team. People say that though. How much does that really matter for you? Truly, I'm not saying that. I want to know, because I need something to be present between us to know how committed you really are towards your mission and vision.
That's what I wake up to every morning.
Okay, I get that, right? I get you wake up to it.
Yep.
What happens if the vision, the growth of Epic? What happens if that doesn't happen? How much does that matter?
The world can't exist without Epic.
All right. So point. Now something's at stake. We understand Rob's potential pain, which is that not achieving that.
Yep.
And now we have him present, not to me talking into him with benefits. Hey, brother, I do this sales thing. I could double your income. If he's not connected to something that matters, it lands differently.
Yep.
You may go, well, that's what I do when I'm successful. Okay. You're listening to this video, I presume, because you want to become more successful, more efficient, more optimal. And that's what this is about. It's not oh, you're wrong. It's how to become more optimal, right? That's step 2. Step 3 is then solving for that with the conveyance of your heroic, unique identity, right? So ready, watch this. Rob Gill is an unbelievable family man. Rob Gill is an incredible father. Rob Gill is loyal. I've been with Rob Gill in casinos. We're not gamblers, either of us, but we had a friend who was in a casino, longer story. He and I went to see a cover band. We love it, Bruce Springsteen. And I've watched this man operate outside the presence of his wife and children, and there's nothing but integrity that comes from him. That's delivering. And then we go into, how'd that make you feel, by the way?
Phenomenal.
That's an acknowledgement of him, but it's also me conveying his heroic, unique identity.
Something heard and seen.
Yeah. And your mission, because of what you were raised in some level of loving dysfunction.
Oh yeah.
Right? Was the financial challenges and stresses of your family, and you didn't want to see people endure and go through the same thing.
Yep, financial education for the middle class.
How does that feel for you?
Phenomenal.
Right? So that's Rob's heroic, unique identity. How do you feel about Rob right now? Right? So a heroic, unique identity is like why we're doing what we're doing. And then it gets into the optics of, okay, that's beautiful, it's his mission. Now Rob could drop in on and have all of that incredible brilliance you have in communicating about financial dynamics, but it's being heard and received differently without the sequencing of emotional rapport, putting something at stake for people, then you convey your heroic unique identity.
Let them know about the importance of sequencing, because I think that for me, when we first met, I was like the opposite of sequencing.
Rob's,
right?
Beautifully.
The
Rob
sequence is so important.
Rob went in, and I'm not
I'm raw.
It's gonna sound fun. Rob was like rhythmic, like rapper person.
I know a girl named Millie that acts real silly, lives in the Bronx, but she comes from Philly, right? And everyone on Facebook sees it right now.
And do your version of that though, where you'd hit me with like your rhythmic demonstration that you can communicate in your financial world. Like
Robert.
So right? But for real, you'd be like, hey Rob, like what's up and what do you do?
Robert Cialdini, 6 Tools of Persuasion, Commitment, Consistency, Reciprocity, Scarcity, liking social proof, authority, and I can show you how to do it on the back of a napkin.
And then what do you do? What do you do, Rob? I'm sorry, like then hit your rhythmic like financial thing that you'd hit.
We're a one-stop shop financial planning wellness center that could take every single part of your individual business or corporate world and show you on the back of a napkin how to spend your wealth down in life without any additional out-of-pocket costs.
Right. So that's what I get hit with at Hello. Right. So it was like, I was amused, right? I was amused. And I was intrigued, honestly.
Yep.
But we didn't have depth of connection. I was amused and intrigued. And here's what amused and intrigued gets you. How many times did you have to contact me?
300.
Yeah. Over how long?
6 months.
Before we had
6.5. Before we had a meaningful conversation.
Yeah. And I was intrigued. And he was impressive. And that's what benefit throwing and making it about you gets you.
And sequencing was at a place on my side. And that's what I knew at that particular point.
Now, had Rob asked me the questions that led to me saying, my mission is this, my heart is this, my kids, sport, like that's what he had asked me, put something at stake, and I felt his depth of listening, I would have met with him a week later. And I didn't dislike Rob.
And for all you folks, that's the formula that I learned. And that formula is what had Epic go from, and this is for you, this isn't for me, from 8 to 150 new sales meetings a month.
Yeah, and I liked him. He didn't turn me off. I just didn't love him. I liked him. Yep. He was interesting, and I was busy, right? And then when we connected, I was like, I love, like what, like right when the sequencing happened the right way. And the final step is you close nobody. You close nobody. It's reaching agreement formation, and it sounds sort of like this. So let's say that I'm Rob, he's Sean, and I was a client you would want.
Yep.
Is that fair?
Yes.
Right. I had money to invest. I had good things that were going on. Right. Like so, I was an A+ client. Is that fair?
Yep.
Okay. So it would sound like, hey, Sean, you've heard all that I'm talking about. Obviously, I would love to do business with you, right? Would you feel about doing business with me? Like that's where it begins. It's not a presumptive close. When you're selling, and the book Spin Selling examines this, by the way. When you're selling low-priced items like a pen, or something that I forget the cutoff point, items that are $100 or less, like presumptive closing, some of those things can actually function and work.
Yes.
When you're talking to people about money,
real wealth,
like selling even more expensive items, presumptive closing, we have sophisticated buyers, pisses people off, right? Like it frustrates people, it upsets people if they feel like they're being gimmicked and gamed, right? So it's like, hey, how do you feel about that? Now I could check in and see where he's really present. Like we're maintaining rapport as we walk through the process because it did make sense for me to say yes. There's things that you knew and understood and we're building a relationship. But if you were like, so ready, is it,
what's your date of birth?
Yeah, like all that, forget it.
What's your social security number?
And I mean it. So when you read like somebody writing the 99 like closing techniques, dude, I see them all coming a mile away and it turns me off. Now I still may say yes, right? Because I may still want to work with somebody, but it's not helping.
Yeah.
Right? It's not helping.
Yeah.
So 4 steps: emotional rapport building, putting something at stake at step 2, which we call painting yes strategy. Step 3 is the conveyance of heroic unique identity, HUI, conveyance. Step 4 is agreement formation, not closing. 4 steps. We're not going to drop in all the 10 indispensable elements.
Yep.
The acronym SMORE QVC, we'll hit you with that at a different time. Share that from our hearts. One is the loving people and conditioning boundaries. And the second, they're all critical, but I'll just give you these two, is level 5 transformational listening. Level 1 listening is like this. Hey, Rob, what's your favorite sports team?
Steelers.
Cool, man. I like the Jets. That's level 1 listening. And you like that may be very normal, by the way.
It's very normal.
Very normal, but like it's ridiculous in comparison to, ready? Hey, Rob, where are you from?
From Bayonne.
Awesome. And what was it like growing up in Bayonne?
It was a phenomenal learning experience when I look back on it today. But while I was in the middle of the jungle, it was very difficult.
Jungle?
Yeah, concrete jungle.
What, like?
Schoolyards, chestnuts, snowballs, fistfights.
Okay, stop. I just said jungle, and I just went, what? Like level 5 listening, because he said the word jungle. Jungle is not an ordinary word. We don't usually describe where we grew up as a jungle. He wanted to tell me something. And what'd you really want to tell me?
That I overcame, that I was able to fight through the jungle and come out on the other side.
I don't say jungle, we don't get there.
From the streets to the suites.
And now you feel heard.
Yes.
And we're connected.
100%.
Because I'm like, Rob, what I'm hearing you say is you overcame tremendous things growing up in Bayonne, and it's incredibly meaningful to you.
Yep.
And what does that mean to you?
It means everything. I mean, it's who I am. It's everything that I represent.
Yeah. And now we're even deeper. Because I heard him, and now I went into why.
And your voice tonality was there too.
Yeah. That's level 5 transformational listening. We do that for 3 hours. Take that with you.
And these good folks, if they wanted to learn a little bit more about all these different things that we're talking about, how can they reach out to you?
Yeah. Just come on the Unblinded Huddle or come on our Real Raw Open. If you're a business person, you want to make things happen in the world, come on the Real Raw Open. Listen to us on the Unblinded Huddle. Come on to the Real Raw Open to create transformational breakthroughs in an hour. Right? You got to apply to do that. Like we don't just take everybody on, but apply. We've had the likes of Les Brown, Brad Sugars, founder of Action Coach, Joseph McClendon speaking on stages all over the world with Tony Robbins,
Chris Crone,
Fab Mancini, Chris Crone, right? And on and on and on. Best-selling authors all day long, twice on Sunday, TV lawyers, TV accountants, the amazing America's Accountant, Dan Geltrude. And we do this every day. And then we also have Real Raw Opens. Our Real Raw Opens are like TEDx. Real Raw is like TED, you know? And so, brother, that is in a nutshell, but there's one last final piece.
Yes.
Right? There's 10 indispensable elements. We covered 2 in a nanosecond. There's 4 energies of influence: fun, goddess, Zeus, aspirational. We'll leave those there. But without the variance of those energies collectively together, this doesn't work. That's why it's 4 steps, 10 indispensable elements surrounding them, 4 energies surrounding that, and that's how it works, brother.
Like somebody once told me, if you change your style up, watch the money pile up.
Yeah, that's our story. So anything else I could do for you today? I love you, man.
Love you too. Thank you so much. I also did a really cool video with Sean that you might want to check out, and it's how the wealthy people think.